People want to diss on me for my blandness. Shut up, bro. Absolutely not. No. So,
dude, I've had this
write it down.
Since.
You
ready?
Yep, let's ride.
All right, welcome to a new episode of Wisdom. I was gonna Moving with Life. It is Moving with Life, but Wisdom Wednesdays. I have my buddy Pete here once again. We're in a new spot, same location, new spot.
Yeah.
We're trying to up the production value just a little bit. We've gotten great feedback. We appreciate all of y'all tuning in, and hopefully we'll be able to continue just again bringing you value and bringing you content that obviously it's our thoughts and it's our perspective on things. But then if you can just take one thing away and then go use that in your life, or however you take that, you can use it, not just. I enjoy good podcasts to listen to, but
100%.
But also I think 80% of the stuff we listen to is just to try to gain something so we can use it ourselves and move on with that. Today's topic, today's theme, today's picture is: do you do something for excellence or because you enjoy it? This one actually got me thinking a lot. I kind of gave Pete a quick brief on how I was thinking about approaching this topic and this theme, and we both actually have a lot of notes. So however long we go is how long we're gonna go. But nonetheless, we're gonna hit this thing running. So Pete, what's your first point today?
So my first point is trying to be cool more so than swallowing your pride. And I'm not going to name his name, but when we're on deployment...
Say that again. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second. Trying to stay cool. Say it again.
Trying to be cool rather than swallowing your pride.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So on deployment, there was a buddy of mine, and he was wanting to go MARSOC, which is our special forces. And he's like, man, I really want to do something cool. I really want to do something like meaningful. And I feel like this is the only thing I'd want to do. And I really didn't say anything to him about it for a long time, because he was talking about this for a while, talking about re-enlisting and doing that. And I just kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to influence him. I didn't want to be the reason why he did something that he didn't enjoy. And then he just regretted it. And then there was just this time on ship, man, where he just kept bringing it up, and I just felt moved. It was the ice cream social night when we found out we were going to get extended again, because that's what happens. We find out you're going to get extended as an ice cream social happens, which I don't mind. I love it. I get up there and I get 2 or 3 bowls of ice cream, and I just go back, and people are like, "Oh my God, we're getting extended!" I'm just like, "What'd you say?"
Can I have more?
Yeah, straight up, dude. And so I'm talking with him, and I told him some of my main points. I'm like, "You're contradicting yourself." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, you say that you want a family. You say that you want to be there for your kids. You say that you tell me all the time about how you miss your wife, all these other things. If you guys aren't tracking, A&S for MARSOC is 13 weeks, I believe. Something like that. Sure. Maybe a little bit less, right? That's just the first part. The second part, if you get selected, is ITC, Individual Training Course. Individual Training Course, I think, is 9 months long. After Individual Training Course, you then have jump school, dive school, and then I believe a language course of some sort. And then you have CQB and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the training does not get any easier when you hit the teams itself. You have no time on your hands. You are constantly under stress, and you're constantly working very hard. And so I said to him, like, does that seem like something that's going to be beneficial for your wife and kids? It's like, no. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, no, dude. And so I told him, like, so do you think you're doing this because you just want to do something cool? Or are you doing this for the benefit of your family? And he's like, you got a good point, man.
I know this. I remember the situation you're talking about. Was it at that point that you wrote this topic down? Was that the conversation that had you? Yeah.
Yes. And
so not to cut you off, but that's a lot of stuff that we talked about on the boat when we were out there, especially when we were on and we didn't go out for a few months, where it's like all these life things that even know, like I found myself in talking about, like figuring out my future in my life and what do I want when I get back home, because I know, I'm not gonna go home yet, but I'm gonna go home eventually. We'll make it home. So it was an intense time, I will say.
The thing I'm gonna add on to this, to give you guys a little bit of context. So in the military, if you guys aren't in the military, you guys have watched probably like special forces movies like Zero Dark 30 or Lone Survivor. Like that's the kind of level that like MARSOC is at, kind of. And so you see, as military men, we see guys, going around with like quad nods and like they're doing all the sneaky, cool squirrel stuff, jumping out of helicopters, and that looks really cool. So that's why he was wanting to do that. At least from what I perceived from him, was because I'm jumping out of helicopters, I'm doing CQB.
Well, you talk about like doing the thing, like
doing the thing,
like doing the thing. That's kind of one of the ways you came up with. Like you're right. Like you can be here and we can train you to do the thing, but we don't always get to do the thing.
Yes.
State, going on like we're talking about like local police, Leo, law enforcement, all this stuff. Like they deal with that. They deal with the thing every single day, every single shift, however that works. So yeah. So that's my point. I'm trying to get at when he's talking about something cool. They are like some hard dudes, though. Yeah,
they're very hard dudes. Respect.
I mean, dude. We were right before we started. We were talking about like Jocko, and I think of obviously Jocko, Tim Kennedy, all these guys that fall into those categories that they were part of the OG GWAT groups that we do look up to. Like they're. Well, I guess we could. We'll agree, but I guess we could say like we aspire to be like
those guys. I guess in a sense
to be like those guys, and then but like aspire to like. Do the cool thing, do the cool thing, but with the intent of like the job and like succeeding and doing the mission as well, like
yes,
and so interesting. Yeah, so it's interesting you brought that point because I had
let's get into your point.
Well, to finish up this point is like some of these moments I remember them now that you brought it up, but I forgot about that. Some of that feels like so long ago.
Yeah,
that's just the way time and
lost us in here. Carter Hall.
Yeah, right. So the first thing that I thought of, and this is the little brief that I gave you, was kind of how my music career started and the way it ended.
Yeah, I heard
so I didn't give you the full brief, but let me save it for this so I can tell you the story and you can take it as it is. But so I started playing guitar. Now it's been like 20 years that I've been playing guitar. But either way, I knew at a very young age, 10, 11 years old, that I went to a Gary Allen concert. Gary Allen's like that's the concert that I went to when I was like 10 years old. I'm like, I want to do that. Like it was for whatever reason. I had already been to shows before, even as a young kid. Like I got very lucky because my mom loved live music, and so if there was like local shows and whatnot back in the day, we would go to them, and it was all local, like local fairs and livestock shows and stuff like that. So, but the live music was always something that drew me in. Anyways, so Gary Allen show, I told my mom, I want to do that. Like I want to play guitar. Like I don't know what it means.
Chasing that neon rainbow.
Literally, yeah, literally. And so I learned guitar. Been playing, so on and so forth. Okay, now we get to college, and I'm like, I'm gonna stop playing guitar because it's getting in the way of my college career. Like this is my mindset. That's exactly how I felt. Like that's exactly how I felt. I was like, no, I need to leave my guitars at home. I need to focus on college and do this thing because it's like distracted me from like doing this thing.
Yeah.
And so at some point though, even I think my first 1 or 2 semesters, then eventually got to where like I'm gonna bring one guitar. It's like I remember being in my I don't remember specific details, but I remember just being in college and in my dorm room, eventually my apartment, where I was like, man, I wish I could just play my guitar for a bit, whatever. I had that itch was still there, and I tried to suppress it. I really did try to suppress it. Get my guitar, and then I start playing, and then eventually it literally turned into like me like doing full on like, hey, are you hiring? Hey, I'm looking for now like a musician job, like as a guitar player. I'll get to the point of it, but so I did that, and it started off, I would say, as a genuine aspiration. I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to go on tour. I wanted to be on a tour bus. I want to do that. That was my thing then. And so it turned in throughout college up until 2011, 2012, when I started I got my first audition, and I didn't get hired. Excuse me. I didn't get hired, and it crushed me, but like mentally I doubled down.
Oh.
So dude, I'm
locked in.
Yeah. So mind you, I'm working full time. Yeah, so mind you, I'm working full time, a full time job. I'm going to school, and now I'm practicing like 8 hours a day. While I'm working at least 30 hours a week and I have a full time schedule for school too. So I'm doing 12 to 16 hours of schooling, while still doing. So every moment in time that I had space from homework or whatever, or my job, I was literally practicing. I was just like, I doubled down, tripled down.
Based.
And then 6 months later, got hired. Same band. They were still needing a more full-time guitarist, and they hired me. And I'll never forget, my first paid gig was November 2012, and Roy, he gave me my first $100 bill and said, hey, because I wasn't expecting to get paid. At this point, I wanted so bad that I'm playing for free. I did like 2 or 3 shows, so I auditioned, didn't get hired. I got asked, hey dude, if you want to come jam, you can come jam with us. We're playing here. I don't know if I don't know if we can pay you, but I think I made like $60, like that little freelance gig I did. But it wasn't like what I wanted, because I wanted more than just playing local. Back home we have a local scene. Those of you all know me, you know the story. There's more stories in older podcast episodes as well. I don't go too deep into it now because I'd like to focus on, yes, what I've learned, but then kind of moving forward, which is what we're doing now. Anyways, but eventually got hired on, and then I never, because I guess I'm gonna tie in another small point. Like I never compared myself though to others. Like I at least from my memory, I never compared myself to others, because I had already started developing kind of my style, and so I was okay with that. And sometimes I wouldn't get hired for another gig or whatever because of my style, which is fine. Like none of that never got in my way for what I wanted. Playing music and trying to start touring. Eventually, yes, we started opening for for big names and people who go down for those fairs and those livestock shows. But then when I stopped playing that. I stopped that gig. I think let's say 2014, 2015, because I graduated college 2015, and then my buddy Eddie had just finished school in Nashville. Came back. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming back to Texas. Do you want to start a band?" I said, "Absolutely, like 100%." Like that was easy.
Let's go.
And so now these next 2 years I spend with him, and we get to expand it a little bit. I got to go to Nashville, help him produce a record. Then we basically promoted that record for a year before I then realized, it wasn't a flip of the switch, but there was a 3-month period, and me and my buddy Gonzo, he's been on the podcast as well, but he was going through something personal, and I was starting to have my quarter life crisis, because I'm like, I'm starting not to enjoy this anymore. But then for these previous, let's say 10, 12 years leading up to me having this gig and doing the thing at the time, I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Because I didn't have a plan. There was no plan the plan was to eventually get on a bus and then just do this forever professionally. And some of my friends and a few of them, like especially guitar players that my buddies back home, that they're still playing guitar, they're still doing the thing, and I think it's a good thing, and it's something that I realized I didn't have, and maybe I could have aimed for it, but I do believe, because I learned through them, there is a healthy part of the ego, like your ego. There's a healthiness that you can incorporate, and I was finding that this is my opinion, this is my thought, this is my theory. Yes. That as a guitar player, you're not the front man, so you're not singing the song, but as a guitar player, you have to have a little bit of ego, because you're up front, you're playing solos, you have your moments to lead the band in whatever you're doing, right? And I enjoyed it, but there was a point where I was not enjoying it anymore. And there's one incident, we played it at this local bar, and me and Gonzo and Eddie, we walked to IHOP, and at the end of that gig, I was just so tired. I was exhausted. I felt exhausted, bro. I just felt exhausted. And we went, and they're like, and they could, I wore that on my face. I couldn't help it. I was like, people were we were playing the gig, and it was a good gig. I had family there, my buddies were there, and I was having fun. But then at some point, I just fell off, and I started getting into my head, and then I could hear. It was to the point where even though we were playing with a big PA system, I could hear people it was bothering me that people weren't listening.
Oh.
Here, me and my friends are trying to promote this record. We're trying to promote this record. We're trying to continue to do the thing, but to build on the thing. And these people are just in the back, just drinking. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a good time, but you're at a bar with live music. And I go to a bar with live music to watch again, this is where I geek out, this is where I nerd out, where I go, I watch the band, like, what's the guitar player using, what equipment does he have, what amps is he running?
I think this is a more personal you thing.
Exactly.
Because, like, I mean, me and my friends have, like, gone to, when we went to Nashville, like, we definitely listened to the band, but there was times where we definitely were just sitting there, like, just conversating. So that doesn't really bother me, but I can see why, as the guitar player, it was definitely bothers you, and it definitely probably bothered you even more when you guys weren't getting good tips, which makes things even worse.
Right.
You know?
And that's because most places we wouldn't even play for tips. Like, we would get paid. Like in Nashville, it's a tip, pretty much tips only for the bands and for the musicians.
Yep.
But for back home, because of the way the scene is, and you kind of do your round robin through the bars and the bar scene with other bands and so on and so forth, we would get paid. But I was like, we're here. We've been here for 8 hours. You know, we sound check because we had our own sound system. So we sound check, get ready for the gig. You know, whatever. Trying to produce something good, and you're just over there, like, just not like. And
Andy, I'm not listening to Andy. Heck no. I'm sitting here talking with my friends. He's up there just playing.
So that was the beginning of the end. That was like 2018, and I spent a lot of time again those 3 months. Me and Gonzo, for different reasons, but we were in the same headspace. And even now, we when I went home, we got to have dinner and we talked, and I was like, man, dude, like, if we would have just allowed ourselves to grow, but be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, we would have been in a different space now. But we wanted just more. We wanted more now, versus allowing each other to grow, even as musicians. Even if we even changed instruments or whatever changes happened. Like, that was one thing that in that conversation I said, I'm like, man, like it's crazy what would have been, and now we're beyond that. And I have guitars here, you know. I still post content every once in a while of me playing guitars and whatnot because I enjoy it, you know, but it's for me. I'm not worried about you listening, you know, the guys in the back listening or not listening. It doesn't matter.
He doesn't care that you listen.
Because again, it's very selfish. It's just for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a very long story, very short and very spacey, but like that was what I thought about when it came to excellence or do enjoy, because I stopped enjoying it.
So to sum up your point, although you want something really bad at that time to be excellent, to be good, have a little bit of an ego in, all right?
Yeah.
You didn't really stop and like soak in the moment and just soak in like what was happening at the time and enjoying that process to get there. And I think that's a big thing. You have to enjoy that process, which I think is one of the bigger points that we're probably going to
so I even wrote down, like, because one thing I do enjoy now is the geek part, like having like even in changing this, like using the Rode mics, having, you know, some studio lights now with a decent camera. It's like those are things I geek out. You know, those are things I do enjoy. With a sound, with a band, it's like I can go to a live show and I'll be where the sound guy is, and if it sounds in my ears, if it sounds subpar, I'm like, dude, like, you're literally getting paid so they can sound good. Like, make them sound better. Like, you know, like, it's one of those things. But yes, yeah, like it's interesting that's
to have passion for it.
Yeah. That's where I find myself now. And you know, I've been in for 5 years. So yeah, 5 years. You know, 5-6 years later, that's where I find myself. Yeah. Just geeking about the sound and whatnot.
So to hop into my second point, you can stop and help others instead of chasing this false dream of yours. And I'll tell you where I got this from.
You can stop and help others instead of what?
Chasing this false dream that you have. So yesterday I was listening to a podcast from Elite FTS. They're a part of Westside Barbell. If you guys don't know this, Westside Barbell has, I think, 10 people who have squatted over 1,000 pounds. They have a very effective lifting method called the conjugate system, which I'm on right now. I just started this week. There was a woman on there called Laura, Laura Stackhouse. Listen to this. Benched 440 pounds as a 148-pound female. And she is from Westside Barbell. So if you guys don't know about Westside Barbell, now you do. Anyways, she stopped lifting because she asked herself, how much farther am I going to get with this? And how can I help people now? Because she was preserving herself because she was still young. She still had some good years of lifting left. She's like, but what good am I going to be as a coach if I can't even do these lifts? Because she's in a squat suit. I'm pretty sure she did it with gear on, most of these lifts, which is still impressive.
Yeah,
like, it's still
dude,
impressive.
100%.
Raw or gear. It doesn't matter. It's impressive.
Because, I mean, just as a little tag is like, you used to have to work out. Even like I
Yes.
think that's the general misconception if you're not in that realm, if you're not in that thing. But continue.
So she stopped and now started helping people and influencing other people. And guess what? She found out that she enjoyed that more than competing. She still trains. She absolutely still trains. Like you have to if you're not gonna practice what you preach and you're not gonna work out with your guys and who you're helping, that's just a huge mess up on your part. But she's enjoying that. And with that, you guys should probably start thinking about maybe if I have a dream, right? Where can I start including those things in my dreams? Yes, you enjoy it, right? You enjoy it.
Yeah.
You might be doing it for excellence, but then once you reach that certain points of excellence, what are you going to do from there? Well, how are you going to affect people? How are you going to help people? Is my biggest thing. When I reach a certain number when I squat, or when I do whatever, when I get out of the military, whatever it is, how am I going to turn around and start helping people? I had my 6 years of fun, coolness in the Marine Corps, like fast roping out of helicopters and patrolling around at night with our night vision and doing whatever else, ground fighting people, like all the stuff that I loved and enjoyed. But what am I doing after that? And you guys gotta ask yourself the same thing. And don't just think that it's just the military or it's just powerlifting. It's gonna be something else in your life that you need to figure out. How can I get back with this? Chasing some excellence for a little bit, because how else are people gonna listen to you if you're not at least somewhat excellent at it?
Yeah, I find myself running into that predicament now, in a sense, because it's like I want to continue doing this podcast and building and getting better and doing it better. But something like I lose sight of the long term. It's if I can just focus on a good podcast now and just keep it consistent, which has been my biggest thing. And I mean, my buddy Brian, when we were younger, the biggest thing that we'd always draw back to a lot of times was we're the best at being inconsistent. That's our greatest consistency is being inconsistent. And whatever it was. For me, again, it's like the podcasting and where it's because of the ebbs and flows of of where my life has led me, especially since joining the military. But even when I say, I'm going to invest $20 a week, that's me going. And even with that, I'm going to fall off. I'm going to try to write in my calendar for 30 days straight. Day 17, I miss a day. Jump on day 19. Okay, now this little book right here, I've had it since 2017. And yes, I have not finished writing in it, but it's my personal journal that I've kept up to date. And so there's
But you never stopped.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's me now learning that it's okay as long as I come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's and it's taking me a while. Again, it's taking me
David Goggins would disagree, but whatever.
Right.
Whatever,
it would say
bro.
do it, and that's the point. And it's like, well, that's not me. But if I can remind myself to time to bring it out again. Time to catch myself up, because then I go back and read a few pages and I'm like, dude, what was I doing in 2019? Those things. Yeah. And so that's I guess that's the going to teaching people. That's why I say, dude, go write. You feel upset, go write. And no one has to. I think I told you this in the boat. No one has to. No one has to read it. You don't have to let anybody read it. You can write for yourself. And you told me what you did with that stuff, and that stuff no longer exists. And that's my only point. Is just that. It's all these things that I've learned. I'm trying to even do better. But it's well, if you can figure out where those things fit in, it's it kind of makes sense. There's a time to be hard on yourself, and there's a time to just allow yourself to just be free, especially when you're in the context of writing and journaling.
So what you're saying, this is what, at least I'm figuring what you're saying. The pursuing of excellence is not always going to be always consistent, and there are going to be times where you need to really sit back and reevaluate maybe what's going on, take some things from the past that you did right and you did wrong, and then you continue. So don't just think that the excellence is going to come right away. No. To help people with that,
and even then to just continue adding to your points and stuff. But drawing bringing back ego is why are you achieving excellence? 'Cause that's what I would ask anybody.
Oh yeah,
why?
Yeah. This is one of our big points. Yes.
Why are you trying to achieve excellence? Is it because you want the recognition? And dude, we fight with this all the time.
Yeah.
And we laugh because hopefully people will laugh along with us, because it's I want you to see me, but then it's You don't need to see me.
You don't need to see me. Because like we said before, social media, how can I be special? How can I be special versus how can I help people?
Yeah.
You know, how can I have a good influence versus, oh, just look at me, right, the entire time.
Yeah.
And that kind of falls into one of my examples here. So I did a reanalyzation of my goal list that I told you about. And there were some things on there that I looked at. I was like, I'm just doing that. I just want to do that so I can be cool. And the main example that came from that wasn't on my goal list because I figured this out a while ago, is people, not everyone in my family, but a few people in my family were like asking me, okay, well, you said you wanted to go MARSOC when you joined. And then I joined.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, no way. No way am I going to do MARSOC. And now people have asked me before, people in my family, like, well, why don't you want to do that? I'm like, because listen, when I joined, I did it because I thought I was going to be cool. I was like, whenever someone in my family or whenever one of my friends sees me, they can go, oh, he's at MARSOC. Like, that's so dumb. Like, who cares about that, man? That's like the only reason, man, because I told myself, I was writing this in my hotel when we were getting ready to go to boot camp because they kept us in the hotel for 2 weeks for quarantine before boot camp. I wrote in there, so, I want to be a freak of nature. I want to, like, what are the reasons? Why am I here? I'm like, like, I felt so cool, like, sitting there in the dark, like, I'm like, I want to be a freak of nature. I want to be an absolute weapon to destroy the enemy. Like, that's so dumb, dude. Like, that's not, like, no. Dude, the infantry is the best decision I've ever made because the infantry needs more good dudes. And I'm not saying I'm the best dude around. I'm not saying I'm the best Marine, the best infantryman, but MARSOC will always have good dudes. They will always have effective, critical, cognitive thinkers who are thinking on their feet, who are just great people, right? Great leadership, great technology, great training. So I really had to like ask myself at the time, like, do I just want to go through 9 months of ITC if I even make it that far, just to sit there and be like, I did this so I can just look cool? That's dumb. Like, I love being where I'm at right now with the guys I have right now and the people that I can influence right now because the infantry, I think, needs more help more than ever than MARSOC does. MARSOC's like all the way up here and we're like down here. Like, so
that's how it feels anyways.
So my thing to you guys is analyze and truly ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to look cool? Am I doing this because I want to impress somebody? I want to make someone jealous? Some animosity going on, possibly?
That's a big one.
Yes.
You know, like making the other person jealous or whatever.
Yeah, and that's such a huge thing on social media. People are always going at each other in terms of that. And so ask yourself, like, am I doing certain things just to be cool or can I just be myself and do the things that I want to do that are going to be good for me and good for my goals? So there was a bunch of stuff that I took right off my goal list because it's just not, I was like, what the heck's wrong with me? I'm not going to have time for that. Like, what the heck? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. So
evaluate your goals and ask yourself what you're truly going to be able to accomplish and what are the most important ones that you want to accomplish.
Right.
So,
because I feel what you just said is what made me think of this is my last point, is going from your wants to what's meaningful. Which is, it's everything you just described. Like asking yourself, actually,
I think
asking
we have the same point here, but continue.
Asking yourself and sitting. That's another thing. Is like, if I could promote anything, is giving yourself time. Because I mean, if you follow me on social media now, there's a part on my little bio thing that I put time greater than money, because that's one thing that I've tried to stick to. That's probably the most consistent saying that every time I think about something in my life. It's like, is it more like what's more important than money? Like at the end of the day, and for me, it's been time. And my point is to give yourself the time. If I can promote anything and preach anything, is giving yourself the hour, the 2 hour. Maybe you need 4 hours. It doesn't matter. But if you give yourself the time to sit down and get your fine, I guess you can use your phone. I prefer this particular thing doing it on a journal, on paper, physically doing it. But regardless, it's like. Once we get past, okay, why am I doing this? Okay, then if we know that this maybe it's not as important in my life because I'm doing it for maybe the wrong reasons. It's like, so what is meaningful? You know, what does actually matter? What do I want to do? What do I? Because even then, we can still tie this into career where it's like, right, mine has changed like 3 times since in the past 10 years, but. Because eventually I get to a point where I can no longer I can't stand myself in this situation I can't stand what my mind is telling, what my mind is saying, and all these things. So I have to sit down and write. Okay, what I'm losing track of what we'll say for the sake of the argument is like I'm losing track of like maybe who I am, and it's like it's not going down the right where I'd like it to go. So I have to evaluate and then go down there. What are you gonna say? You're like, it seems like you have like.
I'm itching, dude. Yeah, I'm itching to step off here to DFL, and so we're defining between chasing greatness and then doing your best for the right reasons, and maybe how we can manage that a little bit. So, results or relationships is the one thing that I'm definitely looking at here. What gives you? This is what I'm asking myself. What's going to give you the most peace? What's going to give you the most peace?
That's good.
Because
That's good. I like that.
I've had this before. I have a conversation with a couple people about this. A couple of my friends. Is there would be times last year, but I've gotten better about it now, where my friend, he would stay down at his mother-in-law's house with his girlfriend, and like during the weekend, and he'd be like, hey man, like you guys should come down here. It's about like an hour drive down to Wilmington. I'm like, yeah, of course, man. Like we'd love to come down. And then I'm sitting there looking at my schedule. I'm like, ooh, I got bench press. I got to run. I got to stretch. Like, sorry, bro. Like I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like that's so stupid, man. Like yes, I try to treat my body as a professional athlete, but I'm not a professional athlete.
Right.
And how much longer am I going to be able to see these guys? So I'm just trying to capitalize on some more points here.
Yep.
So ask yourself, to recap just on that first point, what's going to give you the most peace?
That's a good one. I'm writing that down. That's a good evaluator.
Can you be flexible? Right? Because me, right? I sound like SB there for saying me. Like,
oh you.
Oh really? But if I'm there, right?
Yeah,
we love doing impressions of our friends in the platoon. Everyone's awesome in my platoon. If I can go to, let's say, Ray's apartment. If I can go to Ray's apartment at 1400, maybe I should just not be such a self absorbed person and be like, okay, I'll just work out at 08. And then the Jocko and like the workout side of my mind is like, that's not optimal. We have to get our work in. We have to make sure we get our pre-workout meal in and then go to the gym so we have a better pump. We have better energy. Versus instead of just me being like, who cares? Who cares? Like I'm not trying to be, man, like the NFL star athlete.
Right.
Like yes, I'm trying to be the best tactical combat athlete that I absolutely can be. But like at the expense of what? At the expense of what? Oh no! I didn't make sure my pre-workout meals lined up in time. Oh no!
You guys are funny. So one thing I appreciate about all y'all is like you guys have like kind of your regimen, your discipline for the gym, and I appreciate that. But I can't help but always just laugh. I don't even chuckle. I just laugh because the way y'all have your pre-workout rituals, like everyone's different. But they have a pre-workout ritual. And I'm just like, I'm going to the gym.
We got SB and Campbell at 21:30. That's 9:30 at night. If you guys didn't know, on ship taking blasting like NWA and just like bouncing their head off the locker. It was like, let's go gym. We're going gym. Like stuff like that. So yeah, everyone has their own little pre-workout ritual for sure.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have joy, though, I think, a little bit in chasing some excellence. You're going to get a little bit of that, right? And this is going to tie into what I was talking about before with choosing your time and choosing how you want to spend that, whether it's chasing the results or chasing relationships. I'm going to have joy. Let's say like a bunch of my family came to that little competition on Friday, dude. Like Elliot and Sam and you and my mom and dad show up. By the way, they are not bad people for not showing up, okay? My family's all the way in Pennsylvania. So do not think that they're just going to drive 8 hours just to watch the small
for like an hour and a half.
For 2 hours. Like, that's ridiculous. Come on. But if they all came, dude, and like there was like a crowd of people like just going nuts, like would I enjoy from that? Yeah. But here's my question for you. Second scenario, right? I'm in Pennsylvania. It is currently 1900. So we'll say 7 p.m., right? I'm at a fire with my friends, and there is good food. There's like, the homies are there.
Yeah,
and they know who they are.
the
You guys
crew-
know.
Yeah, the crew's there.
The homie is there, and we're just there chilling out, bumping to some good tunes, right? The country music's on. It's a crisp, cool evening. I'm getting perspective from my friends. I'm there for my friends. Your friend that night could have very well needed you and just you to be there. You know? Versus the Jocko part of my mind is
I
like,
need to work
is
out.
I need to, like, I need to, like, oh, it's 1900. I'm working out now at the Miller Center for about 4 hours. I need to hit my assault bike session, then I need to hit my stretching session, and then I can go to the bonfire, which won't be until like 2000 at night. Like, how stupid is that? I'm not gonna trade that in for a night around the fire with my friends. Like, no way, dude. You know. So I love you guys. You guys know that we're not trading an assault bike session. The peace and the joy part. Because joy, like, oh, it's this great high. Like, oh, man, I won. I got first place. Oh, man, I'm going off. Oh, everyone's cheering for me. Let's go. But which one's going to matter more to you, and which one's going to affect you more? And dude, I know for a fact there's people on here listening. Like, they're going to be like, the joy part. The joy part more.
And even then, that's one thing I'm grateful for is like, having these conversations, and hopefully they can use this, 30 minutes or an hour, however long we go for today. But using these little reflection times and moments to be like, because it can be very simple, but I feel like as humans in general, we like to make things very complicated, not hard, just complicated.
Oh yeah,
a lot of multi-factors, just multi-variable, just allowing a lot of these external things to like just overtake our day and just like get in the way. Yep. At the end of the day, it's getting in our way, or could get in our way. And I was just trying to like just reel ourselves back, like, okay, what actually matters?
What actually matters, man. And that's something you definitely taught me a lot too, especially the whole time and money piece. Because I mean, I've been raised my whole life like saving money and being smart with your money, like growing up,
which is a good discipline
thing
to have.
Yeah, and the more I became, like, the deeper in faith I became as a Christian, the more money has mattered less. And I think that's definitely something you guys should take in consideration. Like, can I take money with me to heaven? No, but you can't. I've texted this to people before when I sent out scripture. You can take people to heaven, though. You can take people to heaven. That's one thing you can take to heaven.
I like that. I like that a lot.
You don't, like, we're not gonna have money in the next life, man. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying go and blow all your money. Right. But be generous. Be generous with it.
I agree.
Right.
100%.
Like, be sparing with what you spend your money on. But dude, I'm not gonna lie. I made a budget for myself. But if Pope and Rhea Saturday night was like, hey, come on. This is Rhea. It's like, hey, come on, let's go. You wanna go get Five Guys? I'm just like sitting there in my room, like, after a hard workout, like, dude, I just ate steak and rice. Like, I don't, like, it's like, come on, we're gonna go. And I'm like, okay, fine. I hop in the car. I go spend $10 at Five Guys.
Yeah, whatever.
I get like a little ice cream because I'm a fat boy, as everyone in the platoon loves to call me. Everyone calls me fat boy, whatever. Like, I don't care, dude.
So to cap on that point is there's a balance though, and that's probably my biggest thing right now is like, because I'm now at a crossroad where I'm getting close. I'm not out yet, but I have to start thinking about it. I have to start thinking about these things, and I don't want to give the time because I feel like it's OPSEC. I feel like giving timelines is OPSEC, so I try to be sparing with that stuff. But anyways, but I am at a point where I'm trying to think. Okay, I need to get rid of this so I can save for this, and these are the things that I'm looking forward to. But just know that it takes this amount of money to do it, right? So there's that balance of like being in the moment now and enjoying those times, but still be sparing enough maybe during your general week where it's like you're saving money. Like, dude, I'm trying my best to keep this like business professional, so I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying to work on my cussing. Yeah, but anyways,
we all are. Yeah.
We're in going to Chow Hall for the past week let's say a week and a few days since we've been back. Not driving my truck. Not even half as often as I used to back like before deployment. So Chow Hall and then not driving my truck. Dude, the amount of money that I've saved in 2 weeks, I'm like, man. And this is one of those things going back to like reflecting where I'm like, I could beat myself up about if I would have just done this for the whole time, I probably wouldn't even be in like a little bit of debt anymore. Yep. However, I find myself in those like, hey, like my buddies call me from, whether it's from a different battalion or whatever. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, let's go do that. Yeah, I'm in. start my truck, and
That's
I'll pick you up on the way out.
That's
on the way
right.
out, on the way
Yeah.
off base or whatever. But now having to be more diligent with just like when a buddy calls or if we kind of do something, it's okay, where are we going? What are we doing? Because it's not that I budget for all those things, but it's like, okay, if we're gonna do that, let's say Saturday, I'm 100% now trying not to like do anything Monday through Friday besides
You're trying to set conditions.
Exactly. Yeah. Just to allow myself to continue that snowball, because then it could turn into a snowball effect where that discipline just gets a little bit better, and now I see the
results.
the result. That's what
Setting conditions, Condition Havoc. Ring a bell. So capitalizing on that point, I like to just kind of refurbish the points here to keep it more a little clear and concise for the audience.
I think we're actually reaching close to the end because you're almost close to the end. Yeah.
Yes, I'm almost close to the end. Because a good order is no order at all, and a good order is clear, concise, and understood by the most people. Yep. So, with your money, right? Ask yourself, what is it that I'm like? Is it like with quality time that I'm spending it, and in how much? And can I set conditions to be successful without having to spend too much money with certain things, right? My last thing is for the boundaries. I might have some more. I'm going to go back up through just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I had a lot of notes. The boundaries when it comes to the results and the joy part, and then the peace part as well, and the relationships. I ask myself, does it interfere with church? Does it interfere with my relationship with God? Is it going to interfere with my friends, with the boys, with a girl who's a part of the boys, and she's just part of the boys, though? How is it going to interfere with those things? With me chasing this, I want to squat 500 raw. I want to power clean 315. I want to run this next 3 mile PFT in under 20 minutes, whatever. Is it going to affect those? But here's the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that you can absolutely work on yourself. Don't just think that you have, hey, the boys are getting together tonight for, whatever at the barracks. We're going to have a huge thing at the barracks for this going away guy. He's leaving tonight. I'll go say goodbye to him before that, dude. I have other stuff going on. I have other stuff planned. I have a schedule, Now, the main reference is I'm using when I'm home. So I don't get to go home often.
Right.
So when I go home, and my buddy Elliot's like, dude, fire tonight, show up, don't be a coward. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm there. We're in God's country. We're going to make this work, And then we go do that. I'm not going to tell him, oh, sorry, bro, I have a sauna session, and I need to, do some soft tissue work because I'm really sore from, the other day.
My hard leg lift the
other day. But I'm not going to be able to make it. And if I show up there, dude, I'm absolutely stopping by the store. I'm like, hey, man, what do we need? What do we need burgers? We need fries? We need some beer possibly for everyone there. What do we need? On the way over there. Trying to help them out. Trying to help people out, with the money aspect. If LA texted me a text that consisted of $100, dude, don't care. Don't care. I'm picking it up. It's food. Food brings people together. Yeah. And we love food. Me and you both love food.
Cracking.
Yeah. So ask those boundaries for yourself. And it's just a balance. You have to balance everything. You cannot be cold, hard, right wing. You can't be cold, hard, left wing when it comes to any of these things. We're not talking politics.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that on here.
Yeah.
But ask yourself, how far and which way am I willing to go? Yeah. If I hung out with...
And even simply, to the point of your setting conditions, but also, if something comes up, last minute, let's say a buddy hits you up last minute for something, it's can you just move it in your, can you move that weight session or whatever it is?
Yes.
Keep it there. Yeah. Just can you move it for today? It's not, they're not asking you to do this every day. And again, going back to we don't get to visit home that often, especially right now. It's can you just spare yourself some time to go be with these people because you probably won't see them again in X amount of months or however long. To where we can do that today, and then you get back on, you do your thing tomorrow, and then because then things happen. It's okay, it's time to fucking move on. Continue.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look through here real quick, man, just to make sure, I didn't miss anything here, because I would really hate it if I did.
Well, actually, this is a good little transition point. So, while Pete's going through his final notes to make sure we cover everything today, I hope you guys got something out of today. We went just a little bit longer than last time, but I think we're at a good gauge of where we're fitting with these episodes. Do you have anything as far as your notes, or did you cover everything?
I think I'm good, man. Yeah,
Cool.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
So, had a few new subscribers. Had some people. Hopefully, you guys followed Condition Havoc, and you can follow me on Andy _MWL on Instagram. How do you spell Havoc for them?
HAVOC.
So Condition _Havoc.
Yep.
Andy _MWL. But yeah, this was very good. I think we went under what we thought we were gonna hit because we were like, okay, let's see where we're at. Remember, we're at an hour, but I'm like, we'll see, man, because these points and these thoughts, they have their own thoughts. They have their own waves.
Flowing.
Yeah, exactly. They have their own waves.
It's very kinetic.
So yeah, that's a good word, kinetic. But let's harp on this one question that you just brought up, and then we're out of here for tonight. But what gives you the most peace? Even thinking about that, it brings some weight for me, at least the way I feel. It brings some weight to my heart, genuinely, to where what brings you the most peace, and you can ponder on that. Pete will ponder. I'll ponder on that. I wrote it down because I feel like that's gonna be the summary of today.
And that's gonna summarize, and that's gonna really be that condition that's allowing you to make that decision about which one you want to pursue.
Yeah. Which way you're gonna go? Which yes or you're gonna yes or no? What are you gonna change?
Yep.
How are you gonna deviate for today, or whatever the situation may be?
Last thing for you guys, I cannot tell you. I thank the Lord so many times. The day that the podcast dropped, dude, I had so many positive things from my friends, and it just made me so. I'm just cheesing right now, dude, because it just everyone was just so positive about it, and people were saying the most awesome things I never would have thought. People were like, I didn't want to hear the podcast stop. You guys flowed really well. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting it to be kind of choppy. I just expected it to be a little weird. And they're like, no, we loved it. Right. And so all I ask guys is you continue to please share it with your family and friends.
Yeah.
Dude, people were sending it to their moms. People were sending it to to some of their family members. I was like, that's so cool. Yeah. Please keep doing that, guys. Share on your stories if you want. Please leave comments. I talked with a friend last week, and she was telling me that she wants to hear about our experiences in the military.
Yeah, we can jump into that another day.
And we can go only so far with that for some things.
Yeah, we'll have to write that one out, but that'd be fine. Yeah, we can do that.
So please, if you want to hear anything, please drop it in the comments. Hit me up at Condition Havoc. Hit me up at P_280 for my main account and follow me there. Or follow Andy _WMWL. MWL. And ask him, hey, can you guys do a topic on this? Because I do have a laundry list of things, but we also want to hear from you guys because this isn't just about us. We do enjoy sitting here talking to each other, but we do that all the time. But we're really trying to help you guys out and help set conditions.
I feel like we talked so much in the past 10 months, over life and things that are affecting us, things that aren't affecting us. That I think that's what helps the flow, and hopefully we can continue that. And yeah, drop a like, drop a subscribe, hit like, whatever you do, however you listen to this.
Share it.
We appreciate it. And we'll see y'all next week. That's it.
Next week, baby.
That's good. I can tell you.